in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorda, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today, and as always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions or just give your 2 cents, you can call us right now at 323-870-3857. Hit option 1 if you want to talk to us, and we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. Today, we're going to talk about Triple G versus Canelo. It has found a home, and you're going to be shocked when you find out where it is. Another sad story, Felix Trinidad has filed bankruptcy. Always sad to hear about athletes and losing their money. You seem like you hear this story. Robert, how often do we hear this type of story, man? We hear this like all the time.
Yeah, especially with boxers.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I don't get it.
a lot with boxers.
And our train wreck of the week this week has to do with 2 of my favorite things, guns and drugs. But first, we get started with Joel Diaz versus Regis Prograis. Prograis, to me, he looked great in this fight. He hurt Diaz a couple of times in the first round, and then 10 seconds into the second, dropped a straight right hand on him and put him down. Diaz got up and just got swarmed until the ref stopped the fight at 2 minutes, 55 seconds of round 2. Prograis now is still undefeated with 20-0, 17 knockouts after the fight. He called out Adrian Bronner and Terrence Crawford. I guess my question is, is he ready for prime time? That was a big win. I think I picked Joel Diaz to win this fight. I tell you what, boy, was I wrong. Robert, what were your thoughts on Prograis in this fight?
Okay, first of all, his name is Regis Prograis, so it's not Prograis, it's Prograis. He's from New Orleans, Louisiana, but training out of Houston, so he's getting good sparring. And I've seen him on Showbox every time he's been on there, and he's looked more and more impressive. And honestly, he reminds me an awful lot of Earl Spence, because every time they've raised the level of his competition, he has come through with flying colors. I do think he's ready for prime time. And Joe Diaz is not a bad fighter. He's not a slouch. And he totally destroyed Joel Diaz, Joseph Diaz, I should say. And I do think he's ready for prime time. And I think anybody, other than maybe Terrence Crawford, should be concerned if they have to fight him at 140, because his power is 100% legitimate and very, very real.
Beeb, what were your thoughts on this?
Well, Joel Diaz Jr. seemed like the guy who was more popular. He was getting the bigger push. And I've seen both these guys on Showbox. And the one thing I did notice about Joel Diaz Jr. as he was coming through the ranks, it seemed like he was a little bit over-aggressive. You could watch him and say to yourself, well, if he did this, what he's doing now, this particular move or this particular punch, winging the shots, not really setting the shots up behind a jab, leading with wild power shots, squaring up a little bit on the inside, not really being defensively responsible, being able to get away with it because of the competition he was in there with. And I found myself saying, I'm not sure if this is going to work, or hopefully he can change these things when he steps up to the next level. And he did not change these things. Regis Prograis, they both were at the same point in their careers. They were both looking to take that next step up in competition. This was like sort of a crossroads fight for both guys. And I'm not saying it's the end of Joel Diaz Jr. Obviously, he does have to go back to the drawing board. But Regis Prograis showed that he was more patient. He was setting up the shots. The jab was working for him. And, he was not rushing in, winging shots. He was systematically setting up these shots and creating the openings And obviously, I think Joe Diaz Jr. was a little bit overly aggressive, so he gave him some of those openings a little bit easier than probably he anticipated. But all in all, you have to make adjustments, and you have to keep honing your craft in this game. You can't rest on your laurels because you're in there blowing guys out, fighting easier competition. You have to say to yourself as a young fighter that the road will get tougher, and I'm going to have to get tougher as the road gets tougher. So I cannot be a one-trick pony in this sport. And you've heard Andre Ward say that several times. He's another guy who's a very versatile fighter. And I think, these young kids need to say to themselves, I have to have a plan A, B, and C. I have to have a second gear, and I have to be able to, do more than just one thing in this sport.
Benji in the chat just said that he never thought Diaz would lose like that. And I gotta agree with him, man. I mean,
yeah, me too.
No, I would have never thought that. I mean, maybe Prograis wins, and I'll say Prograis now just because I know his name is Prograis. I thought maybe he wins, but not like that. I mean, I don't think anybody expected that. That was a one-sided demolition. It looked like those two can fight 10 times, and he's going to win all of them. Robert, were you surprised at the outcome here?
No, because I had seen Prograis several times before on Showbox, and every time he appeared, as I said, they slowly stepped up his competition, and each time whatever problems the person would present, he'd figure them out and blow them away. I'd like to see him in there against even tougher competition, somebody who's capable of taking him rounds, because what this guy does, as soon as he figures out what your weakness is, he exploits it, and then he destroys you and always gets the fight over with early. The one question I have about Regis Prograis is how can he do in a longer fight? Because that's the one thing in his 20 fights yet that we have not been able to see, because he's pretty much dominated everybody he's been in the ring against.
Who would you like to see him fight next? Because you're pretty good at when it comes to matchmaking and stuff. If you're going to step this guy up, clearly you don't want him in there against a killer like Adrian Broner. You certainly don't want him in there like with Terrence Crawford. Who do you put this guy in there with?
I'd say Hank Lundy.
Well, the problem with Hank Lundy, Joe, is he's better at 130 or 135.
Yeah, Lundy's campaigning at 135.
I think at 140. Prograis blows out Lundy and does it easily.
Yeah, but I mean, even though Lundy campaigns at 135, I think you throw
fights at 140 a lot too, though.
$150 his way, he'll come up to 140.
Yeah. Maybe Granados. That'd be a good fight.
That's a fight.
Granados.
Now there you go, Adrian Granados. That would be a perfect.
That's an awesome fight for him. Yeah, that's a good fight. Good fight.
Because Granados can also do something else that Prograis has not faced. Granados is a good boxer and a good mover, and he's very good defensively. So that would be an excellent test for him.
And the Mad Raps just said Gamboa. He wants to see him fight Gamboa.
Yeah. And the thing about Diaz is, he had a lot of holes in his game defensively, and he just wasn't in there with the right opponent that could pick up on those holes and expose those holes. But also, too, Diaz he's not like a huge puncher. He's the type of guy that will grind you out of there like a Juan Diaz used to do. He's just a workman-like type guy. And, Prograis is more of a methodical guy, more of a crafty guy, a little bit more sophisticated than Joel Diaz Jr. And that was the difference in this fight.
All right.
Absolutely. And he's got legitimate dynamite in his hands.
Yeah, he's a hard hitter. He's definitely a hard hitter.
If he hits you just right, your lights are going out, people. He's somebody to watch.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another guy to watch here, and he came in with a lot of buzz, man. John Fernandez versus Juan Reyes. A lot of buzz, man, surrounding this guy coming into this fight. He's promoted by Sergio Martinez, former middleweight champion. He looked great, man. I mean, he knocked out Juan Reyes, and we'll see what comes up in the future for him. Robert, what were your thoughts on John Fernandez?
Well, my number one thought is he, at that weight class, he's 5'10" tall, and I don't think he's going to be able to stay there very long. you're going to see this guy move up in weight rapidly the more he fills out. But very impressive, and I definitely want to see him again. But he's going to present some real problems for some guys just because of the fact of his height and his reach. I mean, I could not believe the tail of the tape when I read it. At that weight class, he's 5'10", man. And boy, did it show throughout this fight. If he continues to stay at this weight class, he's always going to have a big size advantage just because of his height and reach.
There it is. There it is. All right, let's go across the pond. We're going to talk about Lee Haskins versus Ryan Burnett. Ryan Burnett defeated Lee Haskins via split decision on Saturday in Belfast, Northern Ireland. With the win, Burnett became the new IBF Bantamweight champion. Burnett looked good in this fight. He won just about every round. Haskins never really seemed to get going in this fight, man. Burnett knocked him down in the 6th round and again in the 11th. Scores: 119-107. 119-107 twice for Burnett. Now, Judge Clark Sammartino scored the fight 118-108 for Haskins. Everybody was up in arms about this. I got text after the fight, after the fight, people were texting me. Bottom line is, listen, man, no way he could have scored this fight for Haskins. Upon reviewing the card, he awarded 2 10-8 rounds to Haskins, the 6th and the 11th, which were the rounds Haskins was knocked down. So my guess is that his card got switched. Not that somebody switched the card on purpose, that he switched the numbers. He kind of just transposed them. He put corner, he was judging the red corner and the blue corner, and they just got mixed up. He just kind of forgot what he was doing. It was just, to me, this is an honest mistake. If it's not an honest mistake and he actually thought Haskins won it, there's a big problem. But I don't believe that this is the case. Beeb, what were your thoughts on this? I mean, when you heard these scorecards and everything like that, and and of course when you're awarded the 10-8 round when you got knocked down, I mean, this is clearly just an oversight. Yes.
Yeah, it's an oversight, but initially you're going to be shocked at it. You're going to be like, what's going on here? But upon further research, it looks like it was just a mistake. It's definitely a mistake. And, it was clear who the winner was. And, I think this is much to do about nothing. I think this is just a mistake. And I think, when all the smoke is cleared, people will realize that this was just an honest mistake. And, things happen. I don't think this judge will get any more assignments in the near future because, again, you can't be making mistakes like this. You got to be on top of your game when you're scoring a championship fight. But all in all, I mean, at the end of the day, this is definitely an error. It had to be an error. You don't suffer a knockdown in a round, and you're the awarded the 10-8 round. You're obviously it's the other way around. So we know what happened here.
Yeah, and the British Board of Control, the British Board of Boxing Control, Robert Smith told Sky Sports that Sammartino not coming back to judge any more fights, which I think is kind of harsh because, I mean, he had the right score. He had the right score.
Yeah.
He's the wrong fighter winning. And I mean, that, I kind of give him a pass on that. I really do. And I expect that I think it was an honest mistake. And I expect it's going to be turned around to a unanimous decision win. I don't think this is going to be anything crazy. You know what I mean? Robert, what were your thoughts on this fight?
Well, I watched it live. Thank you, Sky Sports, for allowing us to see it here in the U.S. I want to tell you, there's no way. Now, I think Clark Sammartino made an honest mistake, but I seen the interview after the fight with the British Board of Control person, and he basically said, "We're going to make sure that he doesn't enter the country again to do any more fights." I think once the smoke clears, it'll be turned into a unanimous decision, and because he's a very good judge. He's judged several title fights and always has done a good job. But I was utterly shocked when they read the scorecards. I was like, how can anybody see it that way? Because I had it 119-107 for the winner. Haskins just couldn't figure out Blaney at all, and plus, styles make fights, and because one was orthodox and one was southpaw, they were constantly headbutting each other. because of the styles that they fought. They tried to fight a lot on the inside. Both of them suffered severe cuts, and I mean, it was their faces looked like a bloody mess afterwards. And none of the headbutts were intentional, but it was a clear victory for the hometown Irish guy. He thoroughly deserves this title, and it's a shame that the boxing public is focusing on a judge who I believe made an honest mistake.
I do too. I mean, how else could you possibly look at it? Like I said, the 6th and 11th rounds are knockdown rounds. He went the other way. Clearly, he's been judging a while. Clearly, he knows that guy did not win the round. You wouldn't have given him a 10-8. I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's just one of those things. I think people are kind of rushing to judgment, and it was honest. It was an honest mistake. And no matter what it is, I mean, the right guy won, and it'll get overturned to a unanimous decision. I firmly believe that, no questions. So clearly, that's not going to hold as a split decision. All right, so let's talk about another fight here that took place in Norway, the hotbed of boxing, which is Norway. Cecilia Brækhus versus Erica Annabella. Cecilia Brækhus holds all 5 welterweight belts: the WBC, the WBA, the WBO, the IBF, the IBO. Talk about alphabet soup. She won a 10-round unanimous decision over current WBC junior welterweight world champion Erica La Pantera Farias on Friday night in Norway. Scores were 99-91, 99-91, and 98-92. Can you imagine if Brækhus was a male welterweight with all those belts? She'd be the biggest thing in boxing.
Yeah.
Now comes my question. Why isn't she?
Yeah.
Why isn't she? I mean, clearly 31-0 with 8 knockouts, not the most exciting fighter on the planet, but she's 31-0. Is this a lack of promotion? Why isn't this girl more famous?
She hasn't crossed over to the United States. I haven't seen any of her fights on television. So, I don't know.
No, she's never.
She's fighting in Norway.
Been over here that I know of. You know.
She's not fighting in the UK. She's not fighting, in Germany. So.
Yeah, I don't know. This was only like the 3rd fight I read in Norway. It's only like the 3rd fight ever.
Yeah, so you got to ask yourself.
I hear she's real big over there. Yeah, I heard she's real big over there. But, Jesus, I mean, look, you're 31-0, undisputed welterweight champion, and nobody knows who you are.
Yeah.
I'd find a different promoter. Does anybody know who even promotes her?
I don't even know.
I wonder if it's Sauerland or
no idea.
I don't know.
I suspect it's Sauerland, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either. I think
I'll have to find that out.
Yeah, I think it is Sauerland, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not 100% sure. Robert, how come she's not more popular, man? What do we need to do to put her on the map? What does the promoter need to do?
Well, the first thing she needs to do is go to a legitimate promoter, somebody that knows how to promote. And the second thing that needs to be done, and I'm going to abdicate this until it's accomplished, women need to fight 3-minute rounds. I really think that is, look, there's obviously talented women out there fighting. I mean, you just proved it. 31-0, all 5 belts. And there's others that have talent, but they need to fight under the same rules as the guys do. And if they do that and they're still successful at their craft, people are going to take more notice. If you want to put female boxing on the map, you got to get them more TV time, and they've got to be fighting under the same rules as the men do. And I think if those 2 things happen, I think you'll see more people pay attention to it, to be honest with you.
What is it about fighting 3-minute rounds versus 2-minute rounds that you think will bring more attention to it?
Because
I agree with you.
I think a lot of the boxing public who have been skeptical about women fighting in the past would take them more seriously if they felt like they were fighting legitimate fights.
Because then the detractors could say, hey, they're not even fighting 3-minute rounds. Why should we take them serious like we take the men if they can't do what the men are doing. So
You're right.
I think that's probably the argument. I mean, I'm not saying that it is the argument, but I would suspect that could be an argument against.
Sounds like a good one to me, Joe.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Let's go to the phones here. 812. 812, you are live.
Hey, good evening, guys. This is Joey, man. How you guys doing?
Hey, what's up, man? How are
Joey.
you?
How you doing, Joe?
Oh, man, good. Hey, I got called in to share a cool story with you guys. Okay, on Thursday, I'm always on Twitter. The Kentucky Expo. Remember, Eric, when I talked to you last time, I told you I wanted to go to that Holyfield promotion card.
Yeah.
Well, the Kentucky Expo, they put out a poll question. They said, who would like to win 4 free tickets to the Holyfield fight? And I was like, cool. I was like, they said, all you have to do is, they post a question, like, they just asked, like, why did you like Ali and what did he mean to you? That all you had to do was reply to that and then retweet it. So I just, I replied with a general answer, like, not only did I admire him in the ring, but what he did for his community and what he stood for, and I retweeted it. So the crazy part was, I talked to my old roommate that I was going to go to the fight with. We were going to buy tickets Thursday night, and I was like, you know what? Let's wait till Friday, and then we'll get them Friday morning. And sure enough, dude, I wake up in the morning with a notification talking about that I won 4 tickets to that fight. So
Wow.
And it's like a birthday present for me, man. My birthday's coming up this
That's
week, and
awesome.
I get the Ward Kovalev fight, and then I'll be we're gonna go to the Holyfield fight for free, man. So it's like I was just like I had to share that, man. I just couldn't believe it, dude. I was
That's
like, wow, that's
awesome.
crazy.
How cool is that?
Yeah. Are you go? Yeah, man. I swear, you go look, man. It's legit. Like,
That's
look at my
awesome.
timeline. Like, it was the Kentucky Expo retweeted me, man, and then they inboxed me, and I thought it was a rib, and then I inboxed them. They wanted my email, then they emailed me, and the lady sent out the tickets, so I should be receiving them probably Tuesday. I actually have an extra one because it's me, my wife, and my old college buddy, so I'm still trying to find an extra person to go with us.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That is so great.
So, yeah, I'm excited, man. Are you planning on going there?
No, I'm going to be out of
You haven't
town.
decided yet?
Yeah, I'm going to be out of town. That's the one with Derek Rossi.
Derek Rossi versus the 6'5"
Carlos Negron.
Puerto Rican, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I've
then,
been looking at him, and I'm kind of going for him, man, just because I'm, Puerto Rican. But
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a solid card. I think it'd be fun. But I can't complain. I got free tickets, man.
Oh, it's awesome, man.
Hey, the boxing gods looked out for me, man.
They were smiling on you, weren't they?
I'm just thankful for that. So, hey guys, let me go ahead and talk. Like, this week's huge, man. Like I said, my birthday's Tuesday. My birthday is the 20th, but next Saturday is an early birthday gift to me because my vacation starts, and then I get the Ward and Kovalev fight. So I'm actually, I'm excited, man. I really wish that HBO, I know they didn't know all this drama was going to happen with, like, the trainers and stuff, or what Jackson, with the rumors going about him going over, but I feel like they dropped the ball with this because I think it would have been a great episode for 24/7. I mean, this would have really built it up if they could have covered that, But, I mean, they didn't know it was going to happen like that. I'm hearing a lot of people saying that there's not much hype around the fight for casuals. And I'm to the point now, guys, I feel like this. The casuals if they don't want to tune in, don't let them tune in. They don't have to, man. I'm tired of, like, people always complaining about, we need to get the casual fan to tune in. Man, this is, I'm all for the hardcore fans, and I'm all about this card, and I'm excited. I think the more I study it, though, guys, I think Ward is going to win another close decision. If you asked me about a month ago, I would say Kovalev was going to win. But I think Ward is going to pull out another close decision.
That could be.
The way I see this, the way I see this, Joe, is if it goes the distance, Andre Ward wins. The only way Sergey Kovalev can win is if he knocks him out. Because I don't see how Sergey Kovalev can win a 12-round decision going off of the way they judged the last fight. Now, granted, these are 3 different judges, but Las Vegas seems to be a home court advantage for some strange reason for Andre Ward, and he's only fought there once, and that was the first fight with Kovalev. So it seems like Ward is the house fighter, and we'll have to wait and see what happens.
I agree. And one more thing, guys. Eric, and I know you're, close to Cincinnati area, but I'm excited for that Garcia-Broner fight. But my thing is, I feel like everybody, and a lot of boxing people too, are just writing off Broner like he has zero chance. I'm like, how?
I don't get that either.
He hasn't looked spectacular, but I mean, I feel like you look at his last 4 or 5 fights, besides the Porter and McDonough, he really hasn't had that opponent to get you up. I think he's one of the fighters that he needs to get up for. I think it's just like another. He looks at these fights as sparring sessions. These guys he's beaten, and he's not getting up for it. I really think this fight, hopefully he can make it to the fight if he's all that outside distraction stuff. But as far as like in the ring, and I mean in the gym training, I think he can get up. And I mean, it's a toss up for me. I'm not going to say Mikey's going to come in there and just wash him out. I can't. There's no way I can say that. I'm glad the fight got made, but to me it's more 50-50 fight. But I know everybody's already. A lot of people that I'm reading is saying that Mikey's just going to go in there and get rid of him quick, or not get rid of him quick, but just take him out.
There ain't no way.
And I just totally disagree with that. Yeah,
completely disagree with that.
How, man.
I don't understand it either. I mean, and Granados, what a lot of people overlook in his last fight with Granados, that was his ex-sparring partner. Those two guys were friends. I mean, they were very friendly, even at the media stuff. They were they're always real friendly, always real respectful of each other and everything like that. They knew each other. You could tell they were friendly. They knew each other well, and clearly in the ring they knew each other well, because that they had the styles for each other. I just, I can understand Mikey Garcia. Put it this way, I understand Mikey Garcia being the favorite. I don't understand people thinking that Broner is just going to roll over and not put up a fight. I've never seen him just roll over in his career and not put up a fight. Even with Maidana, he could have checked out. He could have checked out of that fight multiple times, and he didn't.
Yeah, Eric, or even this view of people are saying that they're cashing Broner out. I disagree with that, because I feel like now Broner's going to Al talking about, I just want big names going forward. I look at it.
Well, look, I mean, he's
mid-level guys. I disagree with they're cashing Broner out. I disagree with that too, man.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Mikey Garcia is not going to win that fight. I'm not saying Adrian Broner's going to win that fight. I'm just saying that it's not going to be, if you think Broner's going to go out easy, you're crazy. That's not going to happen. And don't forget, man, Mikey Garcia is coming up in weight, and Broner's a big 140. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Broner didn't make 140. I don't care what the clause states. What are you going to just not fight him? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not going to. I mean, if he makes 140, he's going to be dry. So it wouldn't surprise me if he came in 142 or something like that and just said the heck with it and just went in there and fought him. He's a big guy. He's a real big guy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, that's all I got, guys. Good to hear from you, Eric. I'll be in St. Louis next Sunday, man. So, guys, I won't see you. I'm going to Money in the Bank. I got to go support my WWE.
Oh, no way.
St. Louis.
That's become
you need to take
pretty popular.
There, man.
I was gonna say, man, that's become really popular at my house, man. My son and daughter are really into it right now. And my son especially is always watching like Raw reruns every day. So I mean, he's real into it.
Check this out, Eric. I got my birthday's next week. I got St. Louis on Sunday, and then Monday Night Raw is coming to Evansville Monday. So I got a back-to-back show.
Oh, no way.
Attending wrestling. Then the Holyfield card the following Saturday. I'm blessed, man. I'm thankful that I got these opportunities to go, man. So I can't complain.
What a birthday month, man.
Always good to hear from you, man.
That's awesome, man.
That?
I said, what a birthday month.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
then, hey, don't forget, June 22nd, Robbie, the Phoenix Suns. We got the draft, too. So, NBA draft coming up. Hopefully
I
we can
know.
Draft the next.
I know.
Robbie.
Well, maybe Golden State can draft another superstar, all right? Because they're going to need it after this week. Yeah, they're going to need it after this week. What happened to that 16-0?
We're going to pop the champagne tomorrow night, brother. We're going to do that.
For Cleveland, son.
Right, hey, take care, guys.
All right, man.
All right. See ya.
Yeah, Hand Wraps is in the chat saying as Mikey's in the Golden State is going to watch your boy. I mean, the Golden State's getting washed, son. They went down. They were 3-1 last year, lost it. 3-1 this year, gonna lose it. It's the way it goes. They melt down, son. They melt down.
No, tomorrow night it's over.
Yeah, it's all over but the crying, son. That's it. That's how it goes.
Yeah, it's all over tomorrow night.
It is, but not the way you think. All right, let's talk about the. Actually, you know what? Let's go back to the. Where was Steph Curry the other night? Was he even playing? I didn't even see him in the game.
Yeah.
Or what about Kevin? What is the other guy? Durant? Where was he at?
He had 35 points, Eric.
Did he?
Well.
I didn't see him at all.
Yep.
I didn't see him at all.
Yep.
1-1. You are live. Is this Wood?
Hey, how you doing, Eric?
Hey, what's going on,
Wood?
man? No, I don't think this is Wood. Who am I speaking with?
Oh, well, go ahead.
This is Mike. How you doing, Eric?
Mike, how are you,
Mike.
buddy?
All right. Cecilia Breakhouse, if you've never watched her, she's never going to be big over here or anywhere but Norway because she's boring as hell, Eric.
Well, she's got 8 knockouts, and 31
her
wins and 8
promoter is
knockouts.
First Lady Promotions. She used to be promoted by Sourland. Sourland was in conjunction with that fight, but Sourland dropped her a few years ago because of that same thing.
Wow, I read that too. First Lady from that. Now that's because she's like doesn't she call herself like the First Lady of Boxing or something like that? And it's First Lady Promotions.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, if you're a dude, that's why Paulie Malignaggi, even though he was a good fighter, never headlined any big pay-per-view cards.
Yeah. But undisputed welterweight man
the WNBA's got a contract. They play over here, and nobody cares about that either. So.
You got that right, man.
So, other than that, I like Kovalev to beat Ward this time around, and I think he's going to knock him out.
You know what, man? I'll tell you what, I'm on the fence with this fight, and I could see it. I mean, I could see it, and you know what? I could see it ending in a knockout early. I can't see Ward knocking Kovalev out, but I could see Kovalev definitely landing a punch. Now, will he do it? Will it land? I don't know. But I could definitely see that scenario happen. But yeah, I'm on the fence.
And Kovalev's a good boxer. It's not like he's just going to follow him around the ring. He can cut the ring off. And I thought he won 7 out of 12 rounds the first time they fought. Or at least 6 of the rounds.
You know what? And just as he said that, I'm actually looking at my card here. Robert, how did you have that fight scored last time?
You and I had it scored exactly the same, Eric. We both had it 8-4 for Kovalev.
Yeah.
116-111.
Yeah, and then Beeb had it 115, 112.
The thing is, when you watch that fight, 6 of those rounds, Kovalev clearly won, I thought.
Yeah, 116, 111 for Kovalev. Yeah, I thought, and I remember this because I had the first 6 rounds to Kovalev and then split the last 6, 3-3. So, yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, so I have a hard time seeing why people just think Ward all of a sudden is going to do it better, because the other thing is this. They're both older fighters, and we all know the puncher doesn't lose his power, but the boxer does lose his legs a little bit at a time.
Well, Mike, the problem I see, like the last fight, Kovalev put him down early, but then the second half of the fight came around from 7 to 12. He really didn't do a whole lot. And that's why the judges, I think, scored it the way that they did. What happens this time around when it gets to the second half of the fight? Is Kovalev going to be effective, or is the same thing going to occur? Because he tried to say he overtrained. Well, I don't know if I buy that excuse.
No, excuses are just excuses. Excuses for people that fail in the end. He had him down. He didn't finish him. But I also think this. I think that was the first time Kovalev was in a fight of that magnitude. Even close to that magnitude.
Yeah.
Ward fought in the Super 6. He fought guys like Froch and Kessler, guys like Ed Abraham. And I just think that a lot of times, especially your first time you do it, no matter how great you are, that moment can kind of consume you. So I think what happened is, and you watch him breathe from about the 5th round on, I think that he was so jacked up for that fight that he didn't breathe properly at the start of the fight, which you see a lot of guys in big events do. And I think he was more tired than he would normally be. I would say with as quality a fighter as he is, that the second time around, I think he makes that adjustment. And I think he knows what he did wrong. And the other thing is Virgil Hunter is the most overrated trainer in boxing.
Completely.
I can't stand him.
Completely.
So the thing is this, Andre Ward trains himself. You know?
Yeah, he's very. We saw that in the last.
I firmly believe that Andre Ward runs that whole camp. You know.
Yeah, and in the end, that's usually not a good idea, the way to run things.
Yeah, I agree.
No,
I agree. Yeah.
We all know Sugar Ray Leonard pretty much trained himself, but he had enough respect for Angelo Dundee that if Dundee told him he was doing something wrong, that he would listen to him. When you're just there doing stuff by yourself, nobody knows everything. And if you just got blinders on and you're doing stuff the way you want to do it, a lot of times you miss other things you're supposed to be doing. And I think at the end, I think Kovalev makes the adjustments, and I think Kovalev beats him.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I tell you what, I don't hate that prediction. That's for sure. I think, like I said, man, where we're talking about, it's funny, and I was thinking about this the other day. I'm leaning toward Ward to win the fight, and I'm thinking to myself, why? I had it 116, 111, and I think I was just so shocked that the first fight went the way it did. And to me, it was pretty clear cut. I mean, from my eyes and from the way I judge fights, it was pretty clear cut that was a Kovalev win. I know Robbie saw it the same way. Beeb saw it a different way, and so he thought he saw that Ward won. But to me, like I said, when I watched that fight, I'm like, wow, if Kovalev doesn't run out of gas in the second half of that fight, I mean, I don't know. That's a clear win. I don't.
Yeah, but Kovalev
out of gas. You still had him winning by 4 or 5 points, Eric.
Absolutely, absolutely, I did. 116, 111.
Well, consider this, guys. Consider this. Going into the second fight, how much stock do we put into these John Jackson rumors about possibly not having a good relationship with Kovalev and wanting to no longer train him? I wonder if that has any effect going into the second fight. I mean, you don't normally hear about a trainer-fighter relationship breaking down before a fight starts. You normally hear about it afterwards.
You know what we did, though?
I think the bigger question there is, why are they not getting along?
We heard about this, though, in the who did he fight when he went back to Russia?
Chilemba.
Isaac Chilemba. Yeah, the Chilemba fight.
Yeah.
So we heard about it back then, that there was issues and everybody was worried about it. And then he went in there and did a job on Ward, So.
Well, the big thing to me is what I saw. I saw 2 fights. I saw the first 6 that I thought Kovalev won, and I thought the Ward clearly won the second 6, in my opinion. I thought Ward won at least 5 of those last 6 rounds, in my opinion. Some people had it 4-2 for Ward, but most people had it 114, 113. Either way, I thought it was a real close fight.
Could have been a close, yeah.
Yeah, the big thing to me was the second half of the fight was Ward's jab. He was jabbing upstairs, and his jab was a lot more snappy, and he was basically getting off first in the second half of the fight. And he had Kovalev reacting to his jab, and while Kovalev was reacting to his jab, he was getting low and sliding in underneath it, and he was ripping the hell out of Kovalev's body. Kovalev looked very uncomfortable to me in the second half of that fight. Those body shots, to me, looked like they had a lot of effect on him. And he can say what he wants about the training, and it is what it is. I mean, he couldn't get Hopkins out of there either. Seems like he fades late, and he has been fading late. But not only that, I think the body shots actually magnified the fact that he probably has stamina issues, and he's an older guy. He's 35 years old. This is something that's not going to be able to get changed overnight. So I saw one fighter adapt in the second half of the fight, where I saw one fighter fight the same way from 1 through 12 and actually get worse in the second half. So I see one fighter decline in the second half, and I see one fighter do better in the second half. So just off of that, Ward had a hole. He had to dig himself out of a big hole, and all the pressure was on him to perform in that second half. And Kovalev, all he had to do was just kind of hold the fort. I don't even think he held the fort in the second half of the fight. I thought he caved in a little bit, and I just thought that he was grabbing, holding. It looked like he was very uncomfortable, and he did not want to fight on the inside. So I think that Ward can definitely build on what happened in that second half of the fight. And I think he could start earlier, and I think he can carry it over to this second fight. And I think he can, do it from rounds 1 through 12 as opposed to doing it from rounds 6 to 12, or 7 to 12. So I think that Ward could crack the code.
Real quick, if Kovalev was to go to the body, I think it would change everything. Because I don't think anybody's ever even attempted to get to Ward's body because he moves so much they end up headhunting all the time.
Yeah. I mean, Kovalev is a headhunter, by nature anyways. And Ward does give you a compact target because he gets so low and he never squares himself up. He's always, off to the side when he gets in there low, and he never keeps his head in center line. So he's just a hard guy to really pin down up close. That's why, when he's up close, he's just so effective against a lot of fighters, and he's physically strong too. So when you got a guy in your chest and he's mauling you on the inside, he's ripping with body shots, he's fighting a physical fight on the inside. That is physically draining to any fighter. You saw how Alan Green got tired when he fought Ward Saki. Obika got worn down. Carl Froch was even getting worn down. He just basically just debilitates you, man. He wears you down psychologically and physically because you're sitting there saying to yourself, how do I get this guy off me? So I don't know. I see Ward winning a clearer cut decision in the second fight, in my opinion. That's just how I see it.
There it is.
Yeah, and that would not shock me either because I think Ward is maybe the best fighter of the last decade.
Arguable, yeah.
I got him ranked number 1 of the pound for pound. That's for sure. I mean, it's hard to argue.
Well, you have to have him win, and that's why this fight to me is a lot bigger than Triple G against Canelo. I mean, it may not be for guys that aren't mainstream fans, as they say, but to me, this is the biggest fight of the year.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that so much. I think that because you already saw this fight. That's the other thing. I mean, you already saw this fight.
We saw this fight, and there was no conclusion really drawn. And these guys, by most people, are 1 and 2 in the pound for pound rankings.
Yeah, where do you put? I mean, do you put Kovalev at number 2?
I would put him at number 2 right now.
Yeah.
Whoever wins this fight's number 1 to me. I mean, I think you got guys like Terrence Crawford, Lomachenko that have to be up there. But, I mean, if you look at a guy like Lomachenko, I mean, Kovalev's been around longer. He's done it longer. And plus the fact that he fought the guy that most people think is the pound-for-pound guy. And as you said yourself, you thought he won the fight.
Yeah.
So if you've got Ward at number 1, the fact that you had Kovalev beating him by 4 or 5 points, you almost have to have Kovalev at number 2, don't you?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a very good point.
And I think Mikey Garcia will wipe the floor with Adrian Broner.
No, what are you talking about? You had a good call up until then.
I tell you, I've never seen Adrian Broner beat a high-level fighter.
You got a point.
I totally agree. I think Mikey gets the broom out and sweeps him out of the ring.
Yeah, I don't think.
Garcia's. And the thing is this, Mike, or Eric, the thing, I'm Mike. But the thing you got to remember here is this. Every time that Broner has stepped up in competition, he has lost. And number 2, it's been a long time since he fought somebody that could give him a fight. And as you guys just talked about earlier, you think he can get up. But, he's in his 30s now, too.
Yeah.
And it's been a few years since he's had a challenge like this. And at some point, not having a challenge can be a real big detriment when you finally find somebody that is young, hungry, and ready to knock your ass out.
Right. And
well, that's one of the bad things that if you're a PBC fighter, they match you up very well because it's they don't put you in against multiple tough people. That's another one of my criticisms of premier boxing champions is they give their champions or close to being superstars too many soft touches. Yeah, but in the end, I mean, it's better than having promoters that don't get you paid. So well, I don't have that big a problem with it. But you got a point there. Al does know how to pay, that's for sure. Yeah. So the thing is, if the fighters are being taken care of and paid, that's better than them every 4 months fighting somebody that can knock their head off and making half the money.
There you go. There you go.
Because in the end, that's always been the problem with boxing. The boxers always get screwed.
Yeah, and you know what?
You're gonna hear another case. You're gonna hear another case later on in the show.
It's hard to like.
There's a ton of cases.
It is hard to knock these guys. I mean, they're in the ring, and and we always knock the PBC for those guys fighting twice a year or something like that. But if they're getting a ton of money and fighting twice a year with very little risk, I mean, any one of us would do that. Well,
I mean, that's just how the sport's gone to. You can criticize PBC. I'm not saying you can't, and I'm not saying they've done everything right. But people act like they came along and just this stuff just started happening because of them. Fighters have always, recently fought twice a year. Even Pacquiao fights twice a year. There are some exceptions, like Golovkin fights like three times a year, but most fighters, when they reach a certain level, they're not fighting the same amount of fights they fought when they were just coming up, because the money's better, competition's better as well. The fights become harder, they become more physically taxing, and you need more recovery time when you're in tougher fights. And right. This didn't just come about since PBC started. This has always been that way. It's been like that for a while.
I would agree.
Yeah, it's better to fight twice a year and get paid $5 million each time than to fight 4 times for $1 million.
Yeah. So, I mean, do I want to see them fight more? Absolutely. But I can't sit there and be up in arms and have all this outrage all of a sudden when it's been going on for a while. People want to sit there and say that PBC invented all these problems or they started all these problems. I mean, boxing's always had its issues, man. Always.
Yeah, have they announced where Broner and Garcia is going to be at yet?
No, the big speculation is going to be in New York.
Yeah, they need to have it in Cincinnati.
If they wanted to make a ton of money, they'd have it in Cincinnati. We got the Cavs coming on, and with especially, and then. But you know what, though? I mean, honestly, though, if I take off, the Cincinnati hat for a second, I think New York is probably the best place for it, and I tell you because New York is a fight town. Cincinnati, honestly, is not a fight town. Bronner drew less than 5,000. It was real close to 5,000 for the Granados fight over at the Cintas.
But Eric, I want to go to the fight. I don't care who the fight town is.
I agree. If we're talking from promotional standpoint, New York is probably better. If you're talking from a fan standpoint, it better be. I'm hoping it's in Cincinnati. I may be hoping against hope, but yeah, I'd love it for it.
I have a feeling it's going to be a Barclays.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Unfortunately. So.
Oh, well.
All right. Well, I'll let you go, Eric. Keep up the good work.
All right, man. Thank you, sir.
See ya.
Very good. Good deal, man. All right. So let's see here. Let's talk about the upcoming fights here, and that'll be Ward Kovalev. But before we get into that, let's see what we got on the schedule. All right, and I think that was Mike from The Grueling Truth. He didn't. I wish he would have said something. I would have put out his website. It's thegruelingtruth.com. So there you go. And you can follow him at gruelingtruth.com. So go follow him. He's a really good website. Good stuff. Always retweets our stuff and everything like that. He's a lot like Wood, man. So good stuff. All right, June 11th. That's tonight at 10:30 tonight on Fox Sports. We're 10:30, right, Robert?
Yeah, 10:30.
PBC on Fox Sports 1. Brandon Rios versus Aaron Herrera, 10 rounds welterweights. And Mario Barrios versus Jose Luis Rodriguez, 10 rounds junior welterweights. And then June 16th at Detroit, Claressa Shields. This is on Friday, yeah? Claressa Shields versus Mary Rancier, 8 rounds female super middleweights. And then Demetrius Banks versus Alexei Zubov, 10 rounds cruiserweights. There you go. And let's see here. On ESPN on Saturday, Pablo Cesar Cano versus Fidel Maldonado Jr., 10 rounds junior welterweights. And let me see if there's anything else. CBS Sports Net's Nico Hernandez versus Jose Rodriguez, 6 rounds flyweights. And I think that is going to do it.
I think there's
weekend.
One in Sky Sports was advertising one in Germany next Saturday. So do you have that there?
Let me see here. Do you know who it was?
Tyrone
Zage versus Paul Smith, 12 rounds for Zage's WBA regular super middleweight title as opposed to the irregular middleweight title. All right, and then the big one, of course, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev, the rematch, 12 rounds for Ward's WBO, IBF, and WBA light heavyweight titles. Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Moises Flores, 12 rounds for Rigondeaux's WBA junior featherweight title. Dmitry Bivol versus Cedric Agnew, 10 rounds light heavyweights. And Louis Arias versus Arif Magomedov, 10 rounds middleweights. So, and that's the rundown for the undercard there. Yeah, scintillating, huh? Scintillating undercard on that Ward Kovalev.
Yeah, and we get a couple extra fights before that. So
yeah, and what channel is that on? Do we know what channel that's on?
That will probably be 101 or the audience channel like it was for the Golden Boy stuff, Eric.
Gotcha.
239. So.
Very good.
Yeah. Real scintillating card. It really makes me want to spend my money.
I mean, if I tell you what, if it's not for the main event, I'll tell you what, man, this is not a whole lot of excitement. I don't think there's a lot of excitement for the Sergey Kovalev and Ward fight. What is it? Is it just me, or has there been a real lack of promotion and interest in this fight? And I'm not talking. I know Joey had mentioned it earlier about the casual fan. I know Joey had mentioned it earlier about the casual fan, and they're not, the lack of promotion and everything like that. And we got to get the casuals involved. I don't even necessarily feel that way. Beeb, what are your thoughts on the lack of promotion and interest in this fight? I mean, there was no HBO, but a lot of that Andre Ward walked out on.
Yeah, I think these guys or these two promotional companies have such a disdain for each other that they're not working well together.
I'm back, guys. Sorry.
Okay. They're not working well together, and I think it's affecting the promotion. I think they're getting into a pissing contest. Like, one side saying, well, this side's not doing this, so why should I do it? It's like when you're at work, and I'm a manager at work, and I've managed staff. And a lot of times my staff members will come to me, well, so-and-so didn't do it, so why should I do it? And it's a snowball effect. So my response to that is, so you didn't why don't you start doing it, and you break the chain, you break the cycle of incompetence, and you be the bigger person, and you start it, and then and then I can go to that person and say, well, this person's doing it, you should be doing it too. Whereas if you both don't do it, then I'm going to speak to both of you instead. So what I'm saying, so one side sees one, not happy with the other, what the other side's doing. So, they take it out on the promotion basically. And, okay. So Andre Ward didn't like that Sergey Kovalev didn't show up to that interview at the fight there for the Canelo Chavez Jr. fight. So he turns around and doesn't show up for the face-off the next day because he says he doesn't know if Kovalev's going to show up. So worst case scenario, you show up and Kovalev's not there. At least you can still be there, and you can help promote the fight. So don't sit there and say, well, I'm not going to promote if this guy's not going to promote, because again, this is your livelihood. So I think someone really needed to step up here, and no one did, and that was because of they let personal feelings get in the way of that, and I think it hurt the promotion. I really do.
I think so too. I tell you what, I mean, in Rock Nation, I don't think does a super job with promotions to begin with. And certainly they haven't done a great job here, but and I understand Main Events is the tail end promoter here. They're not taking the role. So they're not going to spend a lot of money on promotion either for but it is your guy,
Well, and again, I'm a big Andre Ward fan, and I like Andre Ward. And, obviously I'm not a promoter, not a manager, not a trainer, and sure as hell I'm not a fighter. But at the end of the day, I just get the sense that Ward feels that he shouldn't have to go out of his way and reach out to these people. These people should appreciate me already. I should already be garnering, the public's attention. Why should I have to go out and reach for it and search for it and ask for their attention? And you know what? Sometimes you gotta go that extra mile to sell yourself to the public. Whatever the case may be, if you gotta do more press, if you gotta talk to more people. And I know he has issues with some of the people in the press. He doesn't feel like he's being treated fairly in the press. But then when you don't talk to these people, then once again, your name and your face is out of the headlines. So, I think, for the sake of the fight, for the sake of your career, for the sake of the promotion, sometimes you got to do things that you don't like to do. We all have to do things that we don't like to do for the sake of our personal careers, for our careers or whatever. There's so many times when I wake up in the morning, I say to myself, well, I got to go in and do this. I don't really want to do this, but I got to do it. It's just, and you have a job to do, you do the job. And sometimes you're not going to like the job, but at the end of the day, when you end up having to do things you don't like, the benefit of doing those things pays off in the end. And that's where I think, in my opinion, things could have been done differently from both sides.
What is Ward's issue, though? I mean, think about it for a second here. This guy is, he's just about the undisputed light heavyweight champion. He's dominated at 160, went up to 175. He's won a gold medal, the last American to win a gold medal in boxing. This guy's Captain America right here. I mean, they could promote him so much better. Or could they? I don't know that they could, because I don't know that he cooperates.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't like doing media.
Eric,
He doesn't do press.
Eric, the problem with Ward is he doesn't care about promotions. He doesn't care about whether he talks to people. Even the relationship that he had with HBO is now strained because, he didn't like what Lampley had to say when Lampley was doing the first fight. And ever since then, if you notice when Lampley did the interview at the Canelo fight, you could tell Andre Ward didn't want anything to do with Jim Lampley. And I just think he's reached the stage of his career where he's an older fighter, and frankly, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. As long as he gets paid, I don't think he cares to help anybody else. That's the way it looks to me.
Yeah, but you know what? Isn't he like cutting off his nose to spite his face?
Yes.
Because the thing is, I mean, he could say he wants to get paid, but the bottom line is he's not getting paid. He's not getting paid anywhere close to what he should be getting paid. I mean, nowhere close. I mean, you're looking at a Floyd Mayweather type of guy in the sense that, hey, you got a guy here who's undefeated. He's undisputed, 168, 175, fighting a Russian. He's fighting a Russian, especially with our tensions in Russia now. The USA-Russia angle could be played up. Any number of different things can be played up. And he does none of it. None of it. He could be making so much more money.
And again, $5-6 million is nothing to sneeze at. Believe me, it's nothing to sneeze at. But I don't think anyone's going to get Floyd Mayweather money. But you know what? He could quite possibly be getting Canelo money. He could be getting Anthony Joshua money. And again, it's not my place to count another man's pocket. But at the end of the day, you see a guy as talented as this, and he should be very marketable. He's very well spoken. As you said, Olympic gold medalist. Good role model, doesn't have any blemishes on him in terms of like negative incidences. He does the right thing in his personal life. He's a good father, loving husband, it seems. He seems like the type of guy that people would want to get behind. But at the end of the day, I think they really got to market that. They got to push that. So I don't know. I just think that maybe he needs to do a little more. And I'm not sure that he really wants to do a little more. I think that he feels he's done what he should have. He feels like he's done enough, and he's done everything that he should be doing. And he thinks that people should be more receptive to him. And they, I don't know. I don't want to use the words that he has a sense of entitlement, but it seems like that. He feels like he's made it already, and if this is how it's going to be, then this is how it's going to be. I'm not gonna go out there and change who I am. And he looks at it more as a personal thing. He looks at it as, oh, I'm not gonna go out there and be fake. I'm not gonna go out there and try to recreate myself. But at the end of the day, everyone's different at work than they are in their personal life. Sometimes you gotta go, you gotta put that different face on when you're out there, doing your job or whatever. Yeah, you gotta basically switch gears, from your personal life to your professional life, and you can't really try to take everything so personal. I mean, people are gonna criticize you. You can't hold grudges against people who say things that you don't like. You gotta go out there and just, you don't like what they say, then go out there and prove them wrong. You don't like what they say, then tell them to explain themselves. Debate them on what they say intelligently. Tell them they're wrong and show them they're wrong. Be smarter than them. Instead of saying, I'm not going to go and argue and talk down to these people's level. No, talk yourself up to your own level and let them know this is how I am, this is how I feel about it, this is why I do what I do. And that's the thing. It shouldn't be this personal battle between you and the press, this personal battle between you and the networks, this personal battle between you and the fans. So the fans don't like your style. I'm not saying you have to go out there and turn into a Toro Gotti, but you know what? Educate people. Let them know, hey, there's more to boxing than just being a Toro Gotti.
Yeah, I mean, you got a guy here who dominates fights, and we've seen it with Floyd. I mean, Floyd didn't have, I can't even remember an exciting Floyd fight. He doesn't have exciting fights, and that's okay. You don't need him.
Well, yeah, he hasn't had, since he moved up in weight, the fights have definitely been different.
Yeah, and I mean, the Kovalev fight, that was exciting, I thought. That was a good fight.
Well, it was a very entertaining fight. Very entertaining fight. I enjoyed it.
I did too. I thought so too. But it's just his lack of his lack of willingness to work with the media. I mean, nothing. They said when I was talking to one of the people at not main events, but Rock Nation for the last fight, the award Kovalev won. She was saying that guys that have followed Ward his entire career were not getting credentialed for the fight.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, why on earth would they do that? I mean, you have no idea. Why would you not put those guys, in there? Why would you not credential though? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and you know what? You know what's very, very aggravating too. You hear fighters say, "Oh, well, I don't care what people say. I don't read this. I don't read that."
Stop blocking Twitter.
You're blocking all these people on Twitter, as you said, because you don't like what they wrote about you. You don't like what they said about you. So obviously you're reading what they're saying, and obviously it's bothering you. So, you're letting these guys win by doing what you're doing. You got to let them know, hey, if you truly don't care what they say, and it truly doesn't bother you, then don't block them.
Right.
Because you need these guys to write about you. Floyd wanted people to hate him, and he didn't care that people hated him, because as he said many times, if you hate me, then you're going to come pay to watch me lose. So you don't want to have that type of persona about you. I understand that. But guess what? No matter what you do, no matter who you are, people are not going to like you for whatever reason. So guess what? Take that negativity and turn it into positivity. Use it against them. Use their own negative energy and negative comments against them. Invite them into your world and let them walk in your shoes for a day and let them know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So by putting up the defense mechanism, it just makes things worse, in my opinion.
I agree.
And another problem we might have here, guys, is I keep hearing horrible things about this promotion company, Rock Nation. It doesn't sound like they're very, very organized. I don't know why a guy like Andre Ward would go to a company that is basically floundering. From what I keep hearing, an established champion such as he is should be with an established promoter. I think that's part of the problem. Why he's not being talked about more, because there's not an established promoter such as a Bob Arum or somebody like that behind him.
Nah, I disagree. Well, I mean, the thing is too, but listen, at the end of the day, you do your own promotion. You're the promotional company behind you can only work with what they have, no matter who it was. And when he got with Rock Nation, he's been with them from the ground. So, listen, man, I mean, and he was one of their flagship fighters, so that's a lot of that onus is on him too. Regardless of the job they do, a lot of that is on him, not doing interviews. A lot of that on him is blocking people on Twitter and just, not doing what he's supposed to do to promote himself. So yeah, that's a big
listen. Dan Raphael.
Like I said earlier, he doesn't seem to care about any of that.
But let's face it, Dan Raphael is not a likable guy. He's not, really isn't. But he has an outlet. ESPN is big,
huge.
Why cut off that outlet? Why cut off that outlet? So, whether it's negative or positive, like Floyd Mayweather used to say, and I hate to keep bringing Floyd Mayweather's name up because, I'm not I respect Floyd Mayweather, but I'm not a huge fan of Floyd Mayweather the person. Yeah. But at the end of the day, Floyd Mayweather the boxer he did everything right when it came to boxing.
Yeah.
And this is what he would say. You know what? Whether you like me or hate me, whether you write good things or bad things, what did he say? At least you're writing about me. And he knew how to play. He knew how to play the game. And you gotta play the game that way. You gotta play the game that way.
Unreal. So let's talk about the fight now for a little bit. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but let's touch on a little bit more here. As far as Ward Kovalev goes, the actual fight, the second fight, this is a tough one for me because, like I said, I think, I could see Kovalev, if Kovalev finishes him, it'll be early. It'll be a knockout early. It won't be a knockout late. That's just my feeling on it. Can Kovalev finish him? Yes. Will he finish him? I don't believe so. And I'm really tossed up. This is really a 50-50 fight for me, man. I wouldn't be surprised either way the outcome. But I do see Ward pulling off another decision, probably a unanimous decision over Kovalev. Ward's not a dancer. But Ward is such a really technically sound boxer. So is Kovalev, but I think Ward is definitely on the upside. I'm going to take Ward, real reluctantly take Ward in a unanimous decision. Robert, how do you see this fight going down?
Well, I've got to be honest. I really want Kovalev to win, but unless he knocks him out, I don't see that happening. I get the feeling that Ward is capable of making more adjustments than Kovalev is. I don't know. I've never seen Sergey Kovalev in a difficult fight where he's had to change his game plan in the middle of a fight. But yet you see Andre Ward, whenever he's presented with something, he figures out a way around it. I firmly believe that if this goes 12 rounds, Andre Ward wins the unanimous decision. I don't see any way where Sergey Kovalev wins a decision in Las Vegas against Andre Ward. I think the only way Sergey Kovalev wins this, unfortunately, is by putting him to sleep. And if there's going to be a knockout, it'll be Kovalev that knocks out Ward. Ward is not a knockout puncher, and he won't knock out Kovalev. So it's either going to be an early knockout or it's going to go 12 rounds, and you're going to see Andre Ward put on a Floyd Mayweather type performance. I think he might even take a page out of Floyd's book and do a lot of boxing and create more problems for Kovalev that way.
But didn't he try to do that in the first fight?
The only way I see Kovalev winning is Kovalev putting Andre to sleep.
But you're saying that Andre Ward is going to do more boxing. Didn't he try to do that in the first fight, though? I mean,
yeah, but something tells me that they studied the tape, and I think you might see Andre do that from round one. Unlike the first fight where he did a lot of that in the second half of the fight, I think you're going to see Andre Ward do it from round one on, and it's going to be up to Sergey Kovalev to cut off the ring and show him, hey, I can handle your boxing style. Let's see what else you can come up with. And I don't know how deep Sergey Kovalev's toolbox is. Andre Ward's, like him or not, is pretty deep.
It's tough, though. I mean, especially for like you and I, who scored the fight the exact same way, 8 rounds of 4, 9 rounds of 3, whatever we had it.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw a clear dominant performance by Kovalev, yeah? I mean, it was clearly dominant.
Yeah, we did.
Why are we picking Ward? I don't know.
Because the Beeb Industries has a strong influence over everybody. I make a prediction. The line just changes instantaneously overnight when they hear the Beeb make predictions.
And now it's time for Beating the Odds with Beeb. Starring Britain's adopted son, Joe Habib.
Ward Kovalev 2, next week, June 17th. One fighter has to prove to the public that he did win. And by doing so, he's going to go into this next fight and try to win more decisively. Whereas the other fighter, Sergey Kovalev, thinks he won, but keeps coming up with these excuses, these alibis, and kind of makes you think, does he really think he won? You have to ask yourself that. So right then and there, you have one guy saying that, you know what, I won, but I got to do better next time. I got to start faster, and I got to do what I did in the first half of the fight. So this guy, Andre Ward, knows what he has to do. Sergey Kovalev, I don't think he really is going to change that much from what he did in the first fight, because his thing is, I was not in the proper condition. It had nothing to do with what Andre Ward was doing. It's me. So in other words, I don't have to change the boxing. I have to change my conditioning. And you've been a pro for a long time. You've been a champion for a good amount of time. So that conditioning part you should already have down pat. You should be living a boxing lifestyle. You should be living a championship lifestyle. So let's get to the odds here. The odds are close again. They're almost identical to what they were in the first fight. Andre Wood's been fluctuating between a minus 160 to a minus 150. Sergey Kovalev's been a plus 130, plus 125. So, the odds makers see what most of us see. They see that, one guy made adjustments, whereas the other guy did not. Okay, I think Andre Ward got off to a slow start. I think that, him not being as active as he was, I know he had a couple fights coming back, but, he really didn't have that top-level guy to kind of sharpen himself up with. And this was the type of fight that he needed to get himself back into the mix. I thought early on, I think Kovalev's jab, I think Andre Ward had a hard time picking up on that. I think he had a hard time timing it. And I think Kovalev's jab is what dictated him winning those first 6 rounds, because he was able to keep Andre Ward on the outside and not let him inside, his comfort area where he likes to kind of operate up close, deep in the pocket, where he has his advantage over most fighters. But as the fight wore on, seemed like Andre Ward was starting to time the jab, and he was beating Kovalev to the punch with his own jab. And as I said earlier in the show, he was able to slide in behind it, and that jab was really opening up the inside game for him, because he would jab, and then he would get low, duck in, and go right to the body and slide in, and just basically fight a phone booth type battle with Kovalev. And Kovalev was the one who looked very uncomfortable. As I said, people want to talk about fatigue being physical, but I think it's mental too. When you got a guy who's in your chest and he's working and nothing you're doing can make him stop, that is physically and mentally debilitating to you. That makes you think to yourself psychologically, you know what? I'm trapped here. How do I fight myself out of this? I have no answers. And when you have no answers, that's when discomfort sets in. And I thought he had no answers for Andre Ward once Andre Ward got in his chest and he started digging to the body and he started fighting a rugged, physically tasking fight up close. I just think that was part of the problem, and that added on to the fatigue. Now, we've seen Andre Ward fight in so many different ways. We've seen him go in and out against Mikhail Kessler in that Super 6 tournament. He went in and out. He would dart in and land his combinations and land some body shots, and then he would go back out and reset. So he didn't really stay in the pocket long in that fight. Did a lot of movement in that fight. Saw him against Carl Froch for a great part of that fight. He primarily fought him in the pocket, and Carl Froch couldn't deal with him inside. Alan Green, same thing, couldn't deal with him up close. Saki Obika. So once Andre Ward imposes his will on fighters, he may not be the biggest puncher in the world, but he breaks you down. He breaks your will. He sits there and just wears you down. So, you may say to yourself, well, this guy doesn't have the hardest punch in the world, but he's hitting hard enough to keep you off him. He's hitting hard enough to make you, not want to take chances against him. He's hitting hard enough to keep you on your heels and push you back, because he was pushing Kovalev back in the second half of that fight, and Kovalev had to try to grab him and get him in headlocks, and he was grabbing Andre Wood, but Andre Wood still had that one-out free, and he was still gritting it out on the inside. So you have to say to yourself, was this more of him overtraining, or was this more of Andre Ward just wearing him down, fighting a physically tough fight on the inside. I think it's the latter. I think it's Andre Ward fighting tough up close, wearing him down physically, and Sergey Kovalev had no answers. So is Sergey Kovalev all of a sudden overnight going to be a good inside fighter when primarily he's the guy that likes to line you up with the jab and extend and catch you at the end of that big right hand? Okay? Sergey Kovalev likes distance. He likes range. He likes space. Andre Ward, he likes it too, but he can fight without it. He can fight anywhere. He can fight any way, and he's shown that. So why would I not go with the guy who's proved to me that no matter what happens, he's got an answer? Whereas Sergey Kovalev had no answers in the second half of that fight. He looked lost, okay? And all of a sudden, he's going to find his way. And I saw that John David Jackson in the corner, and I heard Sergey Kovalev with my own ears tell him in that fight, shut up. I heard him say that. And there was a sense of urgency in that corner in the second half of the fight, whether they want to admit it or not. And there was disarray, okay? Because he was told not to speak, and the Russian was talking, and he was getting frustrated. So if you don't think that that's going to have an impact in this fight, a big fight, the biggest fight of your career, and your head trainer wants to leave you, I know that's alleged, but I think he wanted to leave. Why would he not want to leave it after being treated like that? Why would he not want to leave after being treated like that? Being told to shut up, being told not to speak, and him being silent in the whole second half of the fight. That's a problem. So once again, he's not going to learn how to be a good inside fighter overnight, number one. And number two, he's not going to listen to John David Jackson, who John David Jackson complained that he wasn't listening to him. That's why he had problems in the second half of the fight. That was his own words. And John David Jackson, his own words said, if I was offered Fort Knox, I would jump ship. Okay, so on one hand, you're saying how loyal you are as a trainer, but then on the other hand, you're saying if the price is right, I'll leave. That doesn't sound to me like a guy who's happy. Because if you're happy, you're not going to be lured away. You're going to want to stay in that camp. So I think there's disarray in the camp. I think Sergey Kovalev is upset. Okay, I don't think he's angry, mad, like he's going to go out there. I think he's frustrated. I think he's aggravated, frustrated, and I just think that he's psyched out mentally. He's upset, and I think he's going to carry all of that aggravation and mental discomfort into the ring. And then you have the John David Jackson situation, and then again, he has to worry about what happens if this fight gets rough and rugged like the first fight did. What happens if I hit this guy with my Sunday punch like I did in the first fight, and he gets up and he friggin' says, no, I'm not staying down. What happens when that takes place again in this fight? What happens? The same thing that happened in the first fight, in the second half, but even earlier. So Andre Ward, I'm saying at least 8-4, 9-3. And I'm going to say this, something controversial. Beating the odds of Beeb is going to lay a hedge on this. We're going to take Ward with the stoppage. Sergey Kovalev may even quit in this fight.
Oh.
He may even quit in this fight.
Oh.
Okay. So we're going to cover our bases. We're going to put a little.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
Whoa. Let me finish this, baby. You're not gonna steal my thunder right now. I'm on a roll. I need a fire extinguisher. Linda, cool me off here. But anyways, like I'm saying, because he's so mentally unstable going into this fight, I think Andre Ward's in his head. I think he's gonna play off those emotions, and he may get frustrated. He may quit. He may not come out. And Andre Ward is looking bigger, and he is looking more physically imposing leading up to this rematch. I don't care what all the rumblings about the acne, whatever. It is what it is.
Rumblings about the acne.
Everyone wants to talk about all that BS. Whatever. That's the Beeb's answer to that.
I got a feeling that we got somebody on the line who now it's not the first time, it's not the second time, it will be the third time.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
Beating the odds of Beeb, Andre Ward got this one in the bag. Beeb Industries, once again, is liquidating and we're throwing all our chips in the middle of the table.
Georgie, what do you got to say about that?
Hey, what's happening, people? How you guys doing tonight?
What's up, man?
We're good.
Listen, but Beebs, he's on the roll, man. The man is unstoppable. I'm not gonna even dare. Last time I even dare talk about him, I got disconnected. So
even you have to bow down. Even you have to bow down to the Beeb force.
He said last time he got disconnected. He sure
he
did.
got my trap phone. He got my trap phone tab. You gotta watch Beebs. Listen, War looking good. I mean, even I think he got robbed. Eric, you think that Kovalev got robbed too, you know? So there is that consensus out there what happened the first time around.
I tell you, if you don't take this action, I'm gonna take it.
But like I want to say, like, on people's eyes, the fact that he got robbed didn't count the first time, and he still came out with a win. Why would the second time will be any different? So I would like to go for Kovalev in the rematch, but I mean, the odds are against me. So really, I cannot put myself in that position. If not, I would have challenged Beeb to another contest.
I'm taking Ward, baby. I'm taking Ward.
I hope my dude wins. I'm going for Kovalev in the rematch, but I'm not gonna put nothing on the line this time around.
All right. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna step up. I'm gonna step up. You know why I'm gonna step up? Because I'm 90-some%. Over 90% win ratio, Daddy.
But you've never went against the Beeb force. Never. You've never went against the Beeb force.
Because what Beeb Industries just did was painted himself in the corner. We're gonna do this. I'll bet you this. I'll bet you he does not get stopped.
Well, I'm not going to bet that.
Oh, come on. This was
I'm betting Ward for the win.
Oh, this is going the
Beeb
distance.
Industries.
This is going the distance all the way.
That's
For
a hedge
sure
play.
going the distance.
That's a hedge play. That's a hedge play.
That's a hedge bet. That's what we're betting.
That's a hedge play.
That's a hedge bet. That's what we're betting.
I'm betting Andre Wood wins this fight. I can't give you guys all the odds.
Bet, son. I don't know. Hey,
I mean,
Georgie, that's a duck, right? That's a duck? Is that a duck?
I know the people.
Sounds like a duck.
No.
Well, bet me that Kovalev wins. Bet me
I
Kovalev
pick
wins.
Ward.
Everybody can see going the distance.
Beeb said it was a stoppage.
Guys, I see it this way. Guys. The only one that's going to quit after the fight is John David Jackson. Sergey Kovalev is going to have to find a new trainer. You watch.
So what you guys got to say about that? I heard Andrew Ward talking about that he received a phone call from him.
What's
going on there? That's all mind games. It's really true.
It's true. Yeah, no, it is true. They and John David Jackson admitted it, but it didn't go down the way they quite said. It sounded like they, it was like they offered him some money. It wasn't a substantial amount of money, and he just turned them down. He said no. He said I'm with the champ now. He said he didn't want to do it.
Yeah, but they both, Rock Nation, they both share. Like, in other words, Brian Jennings is with Rock Nation. Okay, John David Jackson trains Brian Jennings. So there's a connection there. So they found out that John David Jackson wasn't happy, and I wouldn't be so shocked if John David Jackson was the one that reached out. Why would they have to reach out to John David Jackson? He's the one that's not happy. Look at him. Does he look happy in that corner? Does that training camp, do they look like there's a chemistry between the two of them? Really? You see clips of them training, right?
Hold on. B. Stop right there, bro. Because, I mean, we go into that rabbit hole.
Sometimes we got to go in that rabbit hole. We got to go there. We don't want to go there, but we got to.
That's fine. They got robbed. So we just cannot wipe these combinations. How long they been together?
For about, I think I want to say 5 years.
5 years, my dude. So, I mean, maybe they're not happy. I know Kovalev ain't happy after fucking fighting for free and getting robbed. He won't be happy.
About $2 million. That ain't free.
Listen, brother. David Jackson get called a coon all the time because he got this relationship with this white dude. And it's a beautiful thing on boxing because we have seen that boxing gets people together from all different places. So when we say that the combination of Joe W. Jackson and Kovalev don't seem to work, it's like a brother thing. I mean, when they say you love somebody forever, regardless what happened at the end. So that being said, I just got to put that positive spin on that because we can be talking about, like, a lot of people. I mean, if this is what Andrew Ward coming out with, if this is really true, have people check out phone numbers, and I don't get it. How we making this leap? So go ahead, B. Explain yourself.
Well, nobody called me, of course. They don't need to call me. I'm really not that important in this big scheme of things, and I'm not saying that happened.
Oh, what are you talking about? You're really important.
But again, there's such a thing called empirical data. Okay, and the empirical data suggests to me that, you know, they do not look like.
Analyze that empirical data.
Empirical data is what I see. So in other words, I can't. If I see something, okay, it's like circumstantial evidence. This is circumstantial evidence to me. If I see somebody in the corner being told to shut up, and that guy's the head trainer, that's a problem. If I'm watching guys in the gym, like they'll show clips of Kovalev training, right? John David Jackson will be holding the mitts. And I don't hear a bell ring or I don't hear a 10-second one. I don't hear anything. And all of a sudden, I just see Kovalev turn around and just say, hey, you know, just stop throwing punches. And then John David Jackson's like, oh, like giving that look like surprise, like, oh, you want to stop now? Like, that's not how a training camp is supposed to be run. You know what I'm saying? And then I see him just sit in the corner not saying a word. And then the Russian guy's talking, who's supposedly the strength and conditioning coach, the old one. So that doesn't make sense to me. So that just shows to me that something's not right. Something's not right. So, you know, and then he's saying that if I was off at Fort Knox or for the right amount of money, I would jump. Why would you even have to say that then? So if you're really happy there, then you would stay no matter what the situation was. Because that's supposed to be like a...
Well, we're going... All right, so he say that for the right amount of money, he will jump.
Why?
I heard Paulie Malignaggi say that everybody got a price.
Okay.
Beltran, who I think is a warrior and he said to be have his status here in the United States clear. I heard him say that everybody got a price. This video up on YouTube saying that everybody got a price. So I ain't no communist, but not everybody got a price. So I feel what you're saying. So the whole loyalty and like, oh, by the way, that was a really smart fucking answer, Beeb. That's why I believe on Beeb Enterprises.
I mean, I'm not gonna come up here and just babble at the mouth. You know, when I speak, I have, you know.
You're a solid dude, my nigga. You're solid dude.
Yeah, I'm an intelligent person. I'm not gonna dummy. I'm never gonna dummy myself down to anybody.
People combination, they can make. I hope they win. I hope the combination work and they don't get split. Whatever difference that is going on. And Kovalev be saying some things they borderline racist, so he got to tone that shit down. Cause that means I don't understand, brother. It's just boxing, but it just gets so complicated because there's human beings behind all this shit. But great show like always. Nice for talking to you guys. Everybody there support, and I give you thumbs up.
There it is. Thank you, sir. Georgie, not looking to take a bet this time. Not looking to take a bet this time. And Beeb, I got to be honest with you, man. I got to be real honest with you. I'm happy you didn't take that bet. I'm happy you didn't take that bet because Beeb Industries would have went down, and I don't want to see that. I mean, I'm undefeated when it comes to bets. I mean, you know.
Well, it's just like
Corey. I mean, you saw what I did with Corey. He hasn't shown up on the show.
All right.
He doesn't call anymore.
But you have a 401k, right? You have a 401k.
I don't want to see that happen to you, man. No way.
But you have a 401k, right? You have a 401k. You have a retirement fund.
Absolutely.
So when you diversify your funds, right? You got to put some stuff in low risk and some stuff in high risk. Right now, you're at an age where a lot of your stuff's not in high risk. You have it diversified. So Beeb Industries is the same way. We'll take a risk when we feel, inclined to do so. But I have fiduciary responsibilities for Beeb Industries. I cannot do. All of my moves cannot be aggressive. I have responsibilities to the investors, and the well-being of my employees. So I cannot keep making these high-risk moves.
I don't blame you. Like I said, I mean, I don't want you to end up. I don't want you to end up. Like I said, I mean, Beeb Industries would have just been shattered. I couldn't live with myself if I known.
I mean, we have business over in the UK right now. We have a lot of people. We have a lot of people
do that.
Depending on Beeb
that kind of guy. I'm not that cold-hearted.
Well, tomorrow night we'll find out how good Eric Industries is when his Cavaliers go crashing to the ground.
You know what this is going to be? It's going to be a complete repeat of last year. Complete repeat. They were down 3-1. What happened? Golden State completely melted down. They were nowhere to be found.
Well, we'll see.
Nowhere to be found.
Night,
I'm not writing off the Cavs either.
Right? And you know what they did? They went out and got this big superstar, Kevin Durant, another all-star MVP player, and they still find themselves in the same position. Still.
Well, we'll see about that.
Robbie?
Area code 708. 708, you are live.
What's going on, guys?
What's happening?
First time caller, long time listener.
Awesome, man.
Well,
awesome.
Chicago.
What's your name?
Hey, John from Chicago.
John from Chicago. Nice.
From Chicago.
Nice. Welcome aboard.
I actually called the other guys long ago, and I've spoken with Robbie and Beeb before.
Nice.
This is the first time I've spoken with you, and I tell you, your show is top notch and has surpassed the rest of them. Really enjoy the show.
Hey,
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Definitely want to get on this Ward Kovalev fight this weekend. I cannot wait. In my opinion, I've watched this Kovalev versus Ward fight probably about 5 or 6 times. And in my opinion, I've never once and cannot score it for Ward. I've actually scored it. The best score I can give Ward is 116, 111 in that first fight. I think, quite frankly, I mean, I'm a fan of Ward, but after really watching this fight, he's really a dirty fighter. He led in with his high counted nearly a dozen times where he bent at the waist and knees and shoved the crown of his head, tried to headbutt Kovalev almost a dozen times. Kovalev, just being the taller fighter, was able to snuff it, put his gloves up and block it. He grabs behind the legs, tried to tackle him when he was in trouble. Every time he came in, he did not throw any combinations. He just swung wild left hooks. He landed a few good jabs. But, I mean, all it was roughhouse tactics. I mean, that's all it was. He frustrated Kovalev. Yeah, he did get in his head. Smart boxing. But he's a dirty, dirty fighter. And I hate when people compare him to Mayweather, because him and Mayweather on a skill level is almost embarrassing. He's nowhere near the skill level of a Mayweather. Ward is not that quick. He doesn't punch with much power. In my opinion, I have a feeling, and I'm calling this out, I think Kovalev stops Ward 8th round.
Wow.
I think he's going to come in. He's really going to. I don't like Kovalev as a guy, you know, with his racist comments and everything like that. I just see Kovalev as a better boxer. He's more fundamentally sound. He has just as good a footwork as Ward, but he uses the jab better. He uses his range better. He's got a lot more power. Throws a lot straighter punches. I mean, it just, in my book, I can't see Ward unless he goes back to the filthy, dirty tactics. You know, he's not going to win. I mean, if you put Ward up against some of the great light heavyweights, I mean, can you imagine him against a guy like James Toney at light heavyweight? Tony would tear his head off. Roy Jones would have killed him. Calzaghe would have beat the crap out of him, in my opinion. This is all in my opinion. Ward is a dirty fighter. He gets a lot. I mean, look at the Kessler fight. I watched that fight, and look at the Bika fight, throwing intentional elbows, intentional headbutts. This guy's a dirty fighter. And in my opinion, he might have lost a few other fights if he wasn't such a dirty fighter.
Watch that fight again and watch how many times he bends at the knees and dives head first and tries to intentionally slam the crown of his head into Kovalev's face.
I tell you what, you said him and James Toney, and after that, that's all I could think about, man. Could you imagine that fight? That would be insane. Andre Ward and James Toney.
It would be a great fight, but Tony's a dog too, and I think Tony would dust him up.
For sure, man. Yeah, I do notice that, and he does lead with his head, and he does lead with his head.
Roy Jones.
Go.
I think Roy Jones in his prime would put Andre Ward into a school that he couldn't get out of.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. Same with Calzaghe. He's like a poor man's Hopkins to me. He's like a poor man Bernard Hopkins. I think Hopkins has better footwork and more ring smarts, but he reminds me of Bernard Hopkins. But the fact of the matter is, just Ward is he's a dirty fighter, and I've watched a lot of his fights trying to study these. How can Kovalev get him? How can he beat Kovalev? And I've watched him versus Froch, which he wasn't that dirty in, but he really was. But mainly the Bika fight, the Kessler fight, and this fight versus Kovalev. Versus Bika, you see twice clearly he gets Bika against the ropes and throws an elbow right into his face. Not even intending on throwing a punch. And against the Kovalev, you can see clearly every time he came in, he bent at the knees, put his ass down, and dove in head first with the crown of his head down. Not looking to punch, not looking to engage except for anything but a headbutt and then grab. And then once he got inside, he held. And in boxing, holding and hitting is not illegal. He would grab, and then he would start whacking Kovalev while he had him. Once he grabbed him.
B, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't think everyone says he did great body work. He didn't do great work inside. He's not a good inside fighter.
Because I noticed that too in the first fight. It was largely one and done. It wasn't like combination punching by Ward, and it was something we weren't really used to seeing. It was one and done, and he scratched and he clawed his way, in the judge's eyes anyway, back into the fight. But B, what are your thoughts on this?
This is the thing about boxing. I'm not going to discredit his opinion, because if that's what he believes, that's what he believes. I look at it differently. Definitely in boxing, you can push the envelope. There's been lots of fighters who've done things, and you do what you're allowed to do. You can hold. Is holding illegal? Absolutely. But what is the punishment? What is the penalty for holding? The referee will either tell you punch to get out, or if there's no action and he sees you guys locked in, basically a deadlock there, no one's moving, then he'll break you. So, what Andre Ward does, is it always pretty? I'm not going to sit there and say it is. Do I think he intentionally tries to headbutt people? I don't think he intentionally tries to headbutt people. I think what he does like to do is he'll jab upstairs, and then he likes to get low, and he likes to slide underneath your jab, and that's how he works his way inside. And then he says to himself, well, if you're in the way when I'm moving forward, then so be it. It's like, it's your decision if you want to take that onslaught. So I'm not going to sit there and say that he goes out of his way to be dirty, that he intentionally tries to headbutt people, but he does have a style that, it does initiate headbutts occasionally. And, he does have a style where he's very physical. And again, you could do a lot of things in there. And, if you do an egregious foul, then obviously it's not going to be the same as holding, or it's not going to be the same as, if you're holding and hitting. Because if someone grabs you and you're in a clinch, okay, you'll hear a referee say, when a fighter has one arm free, okay, there's one arm free, punch to get out, punch to get out. So the referee, most referees, not all of them, but most referees want to give that fighter the opportunity to fight their way out of the clinch. So that's why you see, a fighter being tied up and then punching with the free hand. And I have to say, go back and watch the second half of that fight closely, and you'll see that Sergey Kovalev was the one initiating the clinch. He was. And I think that Andre Ward, I thought his jab was really starting to open things up for him. And I thought he was even coming upstairs with the left hook, too. The left hook started finding its way, finding its mark, finding its way into Kovalev's jaw. And was Ward, was it a beautiful boxing exposition in that fight? Absolutely not. But with what Kovalev was doing, was that a beautiful boxing exhibition either? As soon as the guy gets close to you, you get him in a headlock, you try to wrap him up. He made no effort, in my opinion, to try to fight on the inside with Andre Ward. He wanted to get him in a headlock. Okay, so I respect, what the caller says. I'm sorry, what's your name again?
John.
What's his name again? John. I'm sorry, I don't want to say the caller. I respect what John said, and I could see how some people would say that, because maybe that type of style and those type of tactics maybe aren't appealing to John. But I see more than that. I know that's a part of the game, but I don't think that's the entirety of the game. I think there's a method to the madness, and I think there's a lot more cerebral, scientific, methodical things going on in there with Andre Ward. And that's just my opinion.
Well, there is. I mean, I definitely agree with that. I agree. Ward's a dog in there. That's one thing. And look at that. I boxed for 13 years out of Windy City Gym under Sammy Colonna, the same guy who trained from Farah. I do know a lot of things what I saw in there, and I could be mistaken. I'm a short guy, so I would never box like Kovalev. I would be more like Ward. But what I saw Kovalev doing was, the reason he initiated the clinches was because Ward was diving in head first. So he was kind of snuffing. He was trying to like lean back and grab Ward's head so he didn't catch the crown of his head in his mouth. That's just what I saw. I mean, I could be mistaken, but I did watch the fight, about 5 times. And I did see Ward would just dive forward with it, looking directly at the canvas, eyes down, crown of his head forward. And Kovalev would kind of put his gloves on top of Ward's head, and then they would just kind of get into each other, tangle up, and then they would obviously it looks like Kovalev's grabbing a headlock, but Ward was coming in lower, Kovalev was standing straight up, so it almost had to be that when they came in like that.
But John,
so
let me.
That's just my opinion.
I'm sorry. Let me just interrupt for 1 second. Were there any headbutts in the fight, though?
No. In fact, when I watched it, there might have been 1 or 2, but there weren't nasty headbutts.
Now, do you remember the Amir Khan Lamont Peterson fight? Do you remember the Amir Khan Lamont Peterson fight? And do you remember when Peterson was coming in?
Yes, I do.
And Khan would grab him by the head and push down, and then he would push. Then he would actually push him off and stuff. Remember, Khan actually got 2 points taken away in that fight for, I think, pushing and holding, right? So Amir Khan said the same. Like he said the same thing. He said the same thing you're saying. He said, "Oh, I didn't want to get hit by a headbutt." And my response to that is, I understand what you're saying, John, because sometimes it looks like if you don't do that, you're going to get hit by a headbutt. But I think, the fighter that's coming in, I don't think he wants to initiate the headbutt either, because he runs the risk of cutting his head. He runs the risk of injuring his head and possibly not being able to fight and the fight being stopped. So I just think that, the fighter basically anticipating or just thinking to himself, yeah, I'm going to get headbutted. But, that's almost like a preemptive defensive maneuver, like a preemptive defensive tactic, I should say, because you're saying to yourself, oh, I don't want to get headbutted. But there was no headbutts in the fight. There was no headbutts in the Amir Khan fight, and there was no headbutts in this fight. So I'm saying to myself, I could see you doing that if the guy's actually hitting you and headbutting you. But I didn't really see any headbutts in that fight. So I saw Andre Ward getting low, and my whole thing is this. I think, Sergey Kovalev couldn't hit Andre Ward in that position. So he's saying to himself, instead of stepping off to the side, or instead of throwing an uppercut, or instead of kind of bending my knees and getting down low myself and trying to grit it out with him, maybe he said, I can't hit him. So his first instinct was to hold him because he didn't know how to stop him from coming forward. I don't think necessarily that
would be the.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry. I would say that would be the solution for it right there. And I don't know. Hopefully, John David Jackson puts it in his head that Ward does that. All it takes is half a step back, right uppercut, left hook, and that will solve that problem real quickly.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, hey, I just can't wait for it. It's going to be a great fight. I don't like the root against Ward, but I'm more of the James Toney, Floyd Mayweather. I like boxing of just I like smooth boxing. I just like the just the little nuances of the game. And in my opinion, I think Kovalev doesn't get enough credit for the good boxer that he is. Everyone's saying, oh, he's just some brute slugger. Same thing with Gennady Golovkin. You know, these guys are just knockout artists. Nah, these guys know what they're doing in there. They're good boxers. They box as well as, you know, it just so happens that it comes along with bricks in their gloves.
I would agree with that. Kovalev is a very good boxer, very technical. A lot of people don't. He doesn't get any credit for it because he gets so many knockouts. But yeah, he's a very technical boxer too. I mean, you can't really take anything away from him. He's a sound boxer.
The one thing I think he's missing is I keep on bringing up his name, James Toney. The one thing he's missing, and what a lot of these great boxers have, is the pivots, getting out of the way, almost like the Matador. When they come charging, the pivots, and when you're throwing those combinations, he kind of just sets, you know, still when he let go of those combinations instead of pivoting and taking angles. That's where I think Kovalev is lacking, and maybe Golovkin as well too.
Yeah,
they square up their feet sometimes.
Give me a bucket and let me train these guys. We'll help them out a little better.
There you go, man. There you go. All right, John, we're gonna get running.
Yeah, that's all I got, and I tell you what, I love it, man. The show's great, and
thank
I will
you,
be
man.
calling more.
Oh, thank you so much, man. We appreciate
Awesome, John.
it.
Good debate. Good call.
Awesome call, man. First time caller too, man. That's awesome.
See, we can disagree. We can disagree without discrediting each other.
We disagree all the time.
We can do it.
Absolutely.
We don't have to be. We don't have to all be Roger Mayweathers in here and say you don't know.
Right.
You don't know bleep about boxing.
That's it.
We're not boxing snobs here.
That's it. Hey, like I said, man, we thought Kovalev won handily. You thought Ward won it handily. So hey,
I don't think Ward won handily, but I think he won.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you weren't alone. You weren't alone either. I mean, a lot of people, say a lot of people thought Kovalev won, but you weren't alone either. A lot of people thought Ward won as well. So, for sure, it was definitely one of those type of fights. Depends on what style you like. All right, let's go to the news and rumors here. Canelo versus Triple G. After weeks of speculation on where the big fight will land, Dallas Stadium, Staples Center, no. It'll land in Las Vegas. I got to tell you, this is the worst kept secret here ever. And everyone knew that it was going to be in Las Vegas. De La Hoya went through all this nonsense about voting and everything else. So you just took a huge event that could have done great numbers and money in a stadium and put it in Las Vegas. And not that it won't do the same there. Not that it won't do great numbers there, but why not? Just the fact that it would have been in a stadium would have drawn a bunch of attention to it. A bunch of mainstream attention to it, to a fight that may need it, to be honest with you. So I don't know. Beeb, is this the right place for it?
I hate to say it, but yeah, I think it is.
What are you doing?
I love Vegas.
I'm
a Vegas guy.
Me too.
And I empathize with all the people like in Texas who, wanted to see this fight. And obviously, you could fit more people in the stadium, but the tickets are a lot cheaper. So when you fight in Vegas, you're able to charge a lot more for the tickets. There's more high rollers there, and you end up making more money fighting in Vegas than you would, believe it or not, in the bigger stadiums.
I think you probably do. I think there's probably kickbacks galore in Vegas.
You get exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure he gets a piece of everything down there. So
and then the casinos give you the site fees. The site fees are usually bigger.
Yeah.
Than what the stadiums will give you. And from a boxing fan standpoint, I guess I gotta say it's better for it to be in a big stadium because it allows more people to be able to go watch the fight live, and the tickets are more affordable. But I'm just so used to all of the big fights being in Vegas. To me, Vegas is the boxing capital of the world. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I've been to Vegas several times, and there's nothing like walking down that strip at night, seeing the big fight pictures up and the lights. And I mean, waking up at 4 a.m. because you can't sleep, going downstairs here, ching, 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 everywhere, like the city. Sleep.
It's
You're
still
hungry.
live. Doesn't matter.
And then after the Beeb just drops a couple G's at the tables, and they give him a free breakfast. I mean, I love it. Here's a free breakfast for your troubles, my man. And we'll give you a T-shirt and come back for the buffet at lunch so you can drop more money. But, you know.
At the Beeb drops $20 at the nickel slots, you know.
all kidding aside, but, you know, I love Vegas. And I told people that, you know, the Pacquiao Mayweather fight was going to be in Vegas. Obviously, that was a no-brainer because Floyd fights in Vegas.
Right.
But, you know, people were talking about maybe it can be here, maybe it can be there, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, Oscar knew what he was doing. So he can say whatever he wants. And he ends up saying things and then contradicting himself later. And I think they all do it. All the promoters do it. But Oscar's been doing it a lot lately, and he's been actually being taken to task on it.
Should be.
And, you know, it is what it is. But, yeah, I'm not disappointed it's in Vegas. I wasn't going to go to Texas anyways. If I'm going to go somewhere to watch a fight, I'd rather go to Vegas, man. Make an event of it. Go to the Mirage Buffet. Get a nice room at the MGM Grand. You know how it is.
Absolutely. I like the
show. See the showgirls, baby. Yeah. Beeb loves Vegas. Come on.
I love Girl Collection. That's a good place. All right. So Adrian Bronner wants you to put some respect on his name.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, the only thing, and I'll explain the train wreck of the week here in a minute, but here's what Adrian Bronner said in an interview just recently. I feel like they just don't put enough respect on my name. All of the accomplishments I've accomplished in this game, I'm one of the kids. If I'm the one kids want to be now, because coming up, everyone wanted to be like me. You know, everybody wanted to be like Floyd. That's my age. Now coming up, kids want to be like Adrian Bronner. So it's okay though. This fight is going to show people I'm still here. I've still got what it takes to take over the game of boxing after Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. So this is what he said, and I thought it was kind of silly. I thought, you know, put the respect to my name. So today in Pittsburgh Brew, who listens to the show, just tweeted me out, and I saw the article this morning that Adrian Bronner has been accused of some kind of rape or something like that, raping an Instagram model or something like that, and getting her drunk or getting her like slipping her some kind of drug or whatever, and doing like a. But that hasn't been confirmed yet because it's the site it was on. I was looking at the site. Anybody can just submit anything there, and it's not confirmed or anything like that. So that's the only thing that really stops him from being the train wreck of the week this week, is that it's on an unconfirmed site. I will be really sad if this turns out to be, you know.
Oh, it'll be disheartening, yeah.
Very awful. Very.
It'll be close.
So we're going to move on from that. Arthur Abraham versus Chris Eubank Jr. I love this fight. July 15th. This fight will be for the coveted IBO Super Middleweight Championship on July 15th in London. Also, too, Julian Williams and Jamonte Clark will be on the Robert Easter undercard in Toledo. They've been added there, so that'll be good to see Julian Williams again. Kalita Selden tested positive for elevated levels of testosterone in his fight against in his upcoming fight against Mike Arenadonis, and he's been suspended for was it until August, I've heard.
He's got the dirty pee-pee.
There you go. There you go. Test positive. That's what happens. All right. Beeb, it's time.
Brianna! Hurry up. Ready? I gotta ask you a question. Do you want to be like Adrian Bronner? Hurry up. Do you want to be like Adrian Bronner? No? Okay, come on. Hurry up.
Chugga, 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 chugga. Choo-choo.
Good job.
There it is. Love it. Love it. All right, I'm going to butcher this guy's name, his first name anyway. What is it? Avtandil Kurtside. I could. Yeah, I could.
Yeah, that's it. You got it.
Okay. All right, good.
You got it.
Avtandil Kurtside has been arrested and indicted Wednesday in New York as part of a federal government roundup of 33 people accused of involvement in the New York-based Russian and Georgian crime syndicate. Gangster talk for the mafia. He's been in charge with alleged racketeering, robbery, and murder for hire, among other illicit activity. This is the crime syndicate, has been not him himself, but he was involved in it. He was supposed to fight, in case you don't know, he was supposed to fight Billy Joe Saunders. A lot of people thought Kurtzide was going to win that fight. And now he's not going to win any fights now. Frank Warren came out and reacted and said that, they're going to have to move on. He said that they were due to meet in the main event of the July 8th Copper Box Arena in London. Warren said the rest of the show will go on as planned. Obviously, Billy Joe Saunders not going to be a part of that either. Lou DiBella confirmed that the fighter was unable to travel and the fight was off. He said that we're currently planning to postpone the fight to a later date. However, due to the obviously seriousness of the matter, Queensberry Promotions are given no choice but to wait for more details to emerge before anything can be confirmed, Warren said in a statement. So Frank Warren, promoter of Billy Joe Saunders, yeah, this is not good. Beeb, this guy, this is big. This is a big deal, man. This is guns, mafia stuff. I mean, yeah, he sounds like he's a strong arm guy, man.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. Till more information comes out, I really can't formulate an opinion one way or the other. But if it is true, then his career may be over.
Yeah, I agree with that. Robert, you were in the mafia for a short time before you were actually locked up. Do you find, I mean, how does that work? Does it like, I mean, do they just throw you? I mean, can you just get out? It's like blood in, blood out, yeah?
First of all,
maybe you can't talk about it. I don't know.
Yeah, he's on a gag order right now. He's
I might have.
He's under protective custody.
I should have gone there.
Let me comment on this way. I can't believe you two. But anyway, look, this reminds me of the 70s and 80s when we're in the 90s when you're talking about, you know, all the Gambino family and the stuff going on in New York. I mean, we've had some interesting train wrecks of the week, but this has got to be right up there. I mean,
this is up there.
Organized crime. You got the Russian mafia involved. I mean, and you know, Kovalev, when one of the reasons why they were worried about him when he went and fought Alex Jalimba in July was the story came out when he was over there that he used to be an enforcer for the Russian mafia. And one of the reasons they did not want him to fight over there is they were concerned he was going to spend too much time partying with his gang instead of preparing for the fight. So it's ironic that this dude does this when we're talking about Sergey Kovalev and Andre Ward.
That's great. That's great. That's insane. Saddam Ali versus Johan Perez set for July 29th. And Felix Trinidad has filed for bankruptcy in his homeland of Puerto Rico. Trinidad reportedly made $90 million in his career. He now only has $9 million. Wah. I only have $9 million. Wah. Apparently $63 million of it was lost in how are you're $9 million? How do you file for bankruptcy when you got $9 million?
Because you want the other money back.
Listen, man, look, I'm not the greatest at math. I'll be the first to admit it. That's my wife's thing. She's a math teacher. That's her deal, all right? She's good at math. But if I got $9 million, I'm not hurting for anything. I don't know.
But if you're used to having $90 million and you're living a $90 million lifestyle.
Yeah, right?
All right, then you have to really downsize everything, you know, because you only got $9 million left. That's a big lifestyle shock. You gotta empathize with the guy a little bit.
You gotta think about it. Now he bought 60.
This sounds like something Floyd would do. Drop $81 million somewhere and then not know where it's at.
Check this out. He bought $63 million in Puerto Rican bonds. Well, that was a great investment. They've now been relegated to junk status, which means they're worth zero. Who buys bonds anymore? I wouldn't buy them. I tell you what, with the current state of the U.S., I wouldn't buy an American bond. I tell you that. No way, man.
Sometimes you just gotta
seconds.
Sometimes you gotta put things in put things in a money market. Money markets you can't miss, really.
I tell you what, man, that's crazy. $90 million. Like I said, I mean, $9 million. Can you imagine going to like bankruptcy court and with only and saying that I only have $9 million to my name? What are you, stupid?
Should have set up an annuity for himself. He would have been all set.
Listen, Beeb.
The Beeb. Why couldn't you talk to the Beeb?
The fiduciary advisor.
Beeb Industries would have accepted the fiduciary responsibilities for you, and he would have protected everything.
The fiduciary.
Would have stuck it in a trust for you. He would have been all set.
Yeah, then. You could have taken care of his $81 million that he lost.
Of course, I could have put it in a trust. Could have invested in Beeb Industries. We would have doubled it for you.
And I tell you what, before we go here, this is very interesting, and Justin Ponce just alluded to it in the chat. Mayweather said it said that Mayweather recently started training camp, and Conor McGregor just tweeted out today, 1 hour ago, something big is coming. #BP. I'm assuming that #BP stands for Big Payday, so it looks like it's going down. Earlier in the week, they're negotiating. Dana White is out of the negotiations now.
Yes.
So it's just WMA and Floyd Mayweather, I guess, in Floyd Mayweather Promotions or whatever, Money Promotions or whatever they call themselves today. Those guys are, I guess, doing the
TNT,
so Dana
baby.
White is out of it. It's going. Let me tell you what, this fight is going to happen. This fight is now going down. There's no way this fight. Now that Dana White is out of the picture, WMA took over. They're the owners of the UFC, and then they're negotiating straight with it. That means they want this fight to happen. Remember, they're an entertainment company. They are an entertainment company. This fight is going to happen, guys.
It's done.
How nutty is that, man?
Probably going to happen in August.
Yeah, you know what? You know how Floyd does it, man. He announces it, and then yeah.
Maybe August. Is August too early? Maybe August.
October.
Late August.
October.
Late August, early October, mid-October.
There's always good fights. Well, no, you can't do that. Isn't Manny Pacquiao fighting Jeff Horn in October?
That's July 1st.
Oh, Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn, yeah.
July 1st.
I'm not gonna miss that one.
Who the fuck is Jeff Horn?
Yeah, right. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810 and leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1. Find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week.